You know what I love? LEGO Mandalorians. I haven't even seen the Mandalorian show, but my LEGO Mandalorians in my collection are some of my favourite minifigures. Today, I'm going to show you a few ways I've customised mine and made them a bit unique. Here's a few ways you can turn your LEGO Mandalorians from good to great. The first upgrade I have for you is how to make a heavy Mandalorian. Now, here is this blue Mandalorian, and I've given him this shoulder pad armor from the recent Ice Planet Explorer CMF. Now, if you look on the front of the torso, he's got this little orange marking, which sort of looks like the little shape that Mandalorians have on their torsos anyway. It still makes him look Mandalorian to me. Now, on the side he has got this Ice Planet print, which obviously that doesn't make loads of sense for Mandalorians, but though all Mandalorians maybe come from Mandalore, they're well spread enough. I mean, Jango Fett was on Kamino, but you know, it's not super obvious it's ice necessarily. You could say, you know, they're building the new Mandalore, or maybe it's like midway through construction of the Death Star, maybe it's a Death Star Mandalorian. But I just think this piece is really cool, and I had this piece sitting on my Ice Planet minifigure for a while, and then I thought, oh, I could make a cool Mandalorian with this. And it could probably work with lots of different Mandalorian minifigures. I just went with the blue because I think it looks good. You can put it on Bo-Katan, make a buff Bo-Katan, which maybe doesn't ever happen, but just again matches the colour scheme well. To really improve the look, I've used one of these visor parts to make it look as though he's extra heavy because he's got this extra helmet armour. And then I used two small pistols. You could use a bigger gun, you could use like a machine gun or something, which probably looks more like a heavy trooper, to be honest. I just went with two small pistols because it's sort of like, these maybe aren't the best aim, but it doesn't even matter if you hit him because he's got such good armour. That's the storyline behind what I was thinking. Here's the next minifigure. While I haven't seen the Mandalorian show, I have got one set from it which has the Armourer in it, and that was sort of the inspiration behind this minifigure. Something I like about Mandalorians are, obviously you've got the high-tech helmets and jetpacks or whatever, but they're sometimes very tribal, so that's why I've given this guy the spiky shoulder armour. I thought it makes it look sort of like, you know, we're a tribe of Mandalorians, we live out here in the desert, we, you know, have to scavenge a bit more. And then I've given him this pistol, just a regular sort of gun, but I've added this black binoculars piece at the end. I don't know where I remember seeing this or if I just sort of tried it, but I think it looks kind of cool. It gives it sort of an extra barrel, and even though only one part is connected to the gun, I don't think it looks out of place. However, along with the gun, I've used a screwdriver because, like the Armourer, I thought this would be a worker Mandalorian. I thought this could be the mechanic. The reason this all started was because I found these blue legs and gave it to this minifigure because I couldn't find the original legs. While the legs that came with this minifigure with the fabric print on it look good, this definitely enforces the fact that he's a mechanic. And you can see on the back he's got these like green damages, and I think having the spiky shoulders and the tools on him all the time on his waist belt and holding this banner really gives off the impression this group of Mandalorians maybe lives out in the desert, a bit more away from other species, so they sort of have to scavenge a bit more. I think it looks really cool. If I was designing this minifigure, I wouldn't have done green on blue, but whoever designed this minifigure's original prints did a really good job because I think it came out really well. And I think these blue legs match well with the arms, and the prints are really useful. And at first I wasn't a big fan, but now I'm very happy with this minifigure. I'm super happy to have a Mandalorian that isn't just a warrior, but still knows how to use a gun. The next way to have a bit more fun with your LEGO Mandalorians would be give them heads. Now, in the Mandalorian show and in Mandalore lore and whatever, they don't really be taking off their helmets, but we all know that some of them do it, okay? And take them off or not, they do have it. And also, this is LEGO, so what's going to happen if you take off your LEGO Mandalorian's helmet? I mean, they start with no helmet on anyway. What I like to do is I like to make custom heads. And the thing about Mandalorians is, because they're such skilled warriors, and because they have their helmet on most of the time, you don't know what they could look like underneath. So I've given a few of my minifigures old heads, I've given them young heads, I've given them lots of different races, expressions. I think it's really cool to experiment with heads. I love buying heads of pick-a-brick and hair pieces and just combining them. I think pick-a-brick and brickling are really great for just finding heads that, you know, you just have to have in your collection otherwise. But I've managed to get some really good heads and hair pieces off those websites, and they turn out really excellent. And maybe you're one for, nope, I'm not giving my Mandalorians heads, which is fair enough, it's not lore or something. But I think if you're making a group of Mandalorians who are maybe a little less abiding by the rules, which there is in every group of people, then give them heads, make them custom ones, you know, make ones, oh, I'll make it look like me so that I can be a Mandalorian in LEGO, that's great, or I'll make it look completely random because I want to experiment what this looks like, and how will it look on a Mandalorian. As you can see, this old guy I've given to the armoured blue Mandalorian, I think it looks really great. I wasn't in love with this hair beard combo, I just think the hair looks a bit weird, but I think it works nicely with the buff shoulder armor. And then for this other one, I've given this youthful head, because there's Mandalorians of all different ages, and I think it's a good way to use up parts you might not necessarily use, but also experiment with head and hair combinations. Okay, I don't want to keep you all day, so here's the last piece of advice for you. If you've got or you're getting a few LEGO Mandalorian battle packs and you want to swap around some parts, some of the easiest parts to do are swap the helmets and swap the legs. I'll start with helmets. What I mean by that is, you can just take off the helmets and swap them between the minifigures. You can have one that looks like this, and one that looks like this, and then you can have it completely the other way around. One that looks like this, and one that looks like this. There you go, 4 minifigures from 2 essentially. The other thing I would say is the legs. I don't like giving my Mandalorians legs that I don't think are realistic, so I try to stick to ones that have the waist cape print, or else armor. But believe it or not, there's actually a lot of pieces that work well for armored legs. I don't have loads in my collection, but I have a few that surprised me, and you can get even more if you look. This green and white one maybe isn't ideal, because who has a white Mandalorian? And it doesn't look exactly like Mandalorian armor, but it comes with knee printing, which I feel like LEGO always gives a Mandalorian LEGO minifigure. And these orange ones both have leg printing and toe printing, which is pretty commonplace in LEGO Mandalorians too. Plus, the colour of this burnt orange legs is the exact same tone as this helmet. So bam, you got matching. So whether you want to make Mandalorians that look mismatched and raggedy, or you want to make Mandalorians that are fresh out of the paint job, looking excellent, there's so many ways to customize your LEGO Mandalorians. These are some of my favourite ways to do it. As a LEGO customizer, I just had real fun playing around and seeing what I could do. Let me know in the comments any ways you've customized your minifigures, any great parts you've thought this will work great with minifigure, and it has. And I will definitely see you guys next time. Have a good day. Pieces.